Okay, people, I have been hesitating to mention anything about this, but I think it's high time people knew about it. Okay, when you look at Occupy Wall Street, Antifa, and Black Lives Matter, what you begin to understand is that if you go back to 1997, there was a publication called The Black Dawn. Babatunde, the editor of the African Posta, was one of the black business owners, along with Jet Magazine, that supported the Black Dawn operation. Now, what the Black Dawn operation is a Marxist type movement started by people who were descendants of African slaves, which were liberated in 1865. And this is where you get your social justice from, and this is where you get your economic justice from, because it is the children of the slaves, which we have been painfully making reparations to since 1865 with policies that we put in place to allow for the black vote, equal opportunity in employment, and equal opportunities for freedom as American individuals. Now, understand that Operation Black Dawn is specifically geared to attack the white man, okay? And as you can see by the Black Lives Movement, where you have several people who are claiming themselves to be co-founders of BLM, saying that they are trained Marxists. And their plan with Operation Black Dawn is to erase the white man and replace him with an entirely black population. Now, this has been in the works since 1997. The publication Black Dawn made itself known again in the year 2005 in Killeen, Texas, where once again Babatunde not only sponsored the publication, but he printed it. All right. So this will tell you that those who are of African descent and descended from slaves, from the African slaves, this is a plot of revenge against what they would call the white European occupation in the United States. Except what they've forgotten is that 600,000 people in the army in the Civil War on the side of the North fought and died for them. And there were very few black people that went to the Civil War on the side of the North, such as the Buffalo Soldiers, who were willing to fight on the side of the North to fight and die for the freedom of black people too. However, they were also a part of it as well. $600,000 people, 600,000 almost exclusively white people died for the freedom of black people. And in 1865, Abraham Lincoln, a white man, illegalized slavery in the United States and brought unity to the United States. No more North, no more South, 50 states under one banner in one nation under God. Our forefathers since 1801 had been attempting to illegalize slavery by 1810. The South didn't like that because their status symbol was that they owned slaves and that they could have slaves do anything for them and even have the slaves take blame for crimes that they commit. Also, since they were property, they could be treated any way that they wanted to be treated, that they wanted to treat them. Now, roots, I believe, is rooted in truth, in which Kunta Kinte was the central character, in which he craved for freedom. And he ran, and he kept running, and he kept running, and he kept running. And one day, his owner caught him and decided this ain't going to happen anymore, and cut one of his feet off. That kept him from being able to run, and so he had to stay where the slave owner could keep track of him. And this also meant that he would get more bad treatment because now he was handicapped and he was less able to do the tasks that were set forth for him to do. Okay, this is all understandable, but this all took place before the Civil War. After the Civil War, the black man was included in the Constitution in both Amendments 13 and 14. Okay? Which means that this gave the black man the right to vote. And in Amendment 14, it gave him all the rights of citizens of America by means of adoption. In other words, yes, okay, you were from Africa. Yes, you were enslaved. No, you weren't citizens. But because of what we've done, and we acknowledged what we did, we are granting you freedom as American citizens to be a part of us. That was the invitation to the black people then. It is an invitation to black people today. Now, something that needs to be understood is that Black Lives Matter, being a Marxist organization supported by the Soros and its foundation, Open Borders, its goal is to steal, to kill, and to destroy. It doesn't care. It doesn't care if you're white, black, yellow, green, purple, tan. It doesn't care. It doesn't care if you're red. It doesn't care. However, as I said, Operation Black Dawn is here to eradicate the white man. And as I said before, the white European man. And we are no longer white Europeans today. Somebody needs to give them a memo. We are American citizens born and bred here. I didn't come from England. I didn't come from Sweden. I didn't come from Norway. I was born and bred in the United States of America. Now, my dad was adopted from Poland. His parents came over here. My grandmother was pregnant with him, and he was born in the United States, and then he was adopted by American citizens at the time. And at that point, by adoption, he became an American citizen. 1966, I was born. an American citizen. Not to mention, my mother has her roots in England and Germany, and she also is related to Indians. Okay, so she has a multiple heritage, and neither one of our sides of the family, either my adopted side of the family or my mother's side of the family, believed in slavery or owned slaves. All right, so irregardless of whether it was true or not, we have continued to make reparations to the black people for slavery, and we continue to open up this country to them, inviting them to take part in the great experiment of freedom for all mankind, at least in America. Black Lives Matter is going to destroy all that. And it attempts to take revenge upon us. And what they're doing is they're cutting off the nose to spite their face, because as soon as they're done taking their revenge, the United States is going to go into a state of slavery to another regime. Now, this is going to make a lot of people mad. Hey, I'm not sorry. I'm just trying to tell you the truth. You Black Lives Matter people, you need to stand down, and you need to understand what kind of damage you're doing to yourselves by participating in this foreign ideology, which is against the United States Constitution, and it is against your own freedoms: freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of press, freedom of the right to assemble peacefully, and the right to redress of grievances. BLM, you're cutting off your nose to spite your face. You need to repent from what you're doing, because, yes, it's absolutely true. White European Christians established this country, but they established the country for all. It didn't establish the country for just the white man, the black man, a Catholic, a Christian, a Muslim. There was no specificity. And in the Constitution, it states that this nation was not and shall not be established upon any religion. That does not mean that people are not going to be Christian or Catholic or Islam in Congress. It does not mean that a U.S. president is not going to be Christian or Catholic or Muslim, although right now at this point I would not vote for a Muslim. It simply means that we are all free to worship God by our own conscience, and that's between us and our idea of God. And we don't have the right to persecute anybody for their own beliefs. Now, here's another thing that I like to say. None of us asked to be here. Our parents, each and every one of us has a set of parents that made that decision for us, whether it was by accident or whether it was carefully planned. None of us chose to be here. But we're here. So we might as well treat each other decently.